Good day everyone, I am Dante Elio Malaga Jr. For today's video, we will be talking about nutrient cycle. So, let us begin. What is nutrient cycle? A nutrient cycle is defined as the cyclic pathway by which nutrients pass through in order to be recycled and reutilized. The pathway comprises cells, organism, community, and ecosystem. In the process, nutrients get absorbed, transferred, released, and reabsorbed. It is a natural recycling system of mineral nutrients, as you can see in the diagram of nutrient cycle. Nutrients consumed by plants and animals are returned to the environment after death, and decomposition and the cycles continues. Soil microbes play an important role in nutrient recycling. They decompose organic matter to release nutrients. They are also important to trap and transform nutrients into the soil, which can be taken up by plants' roots. Nutrient cycling rates depends on various biotic, physical, and chemical factors. Examples of nutrient cycles are carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, water cycle, oxygen cycle, and many more. Nutrient cycles in ecosystem to ecosphere. Nutrient cycling occurs at local level through the action of biota. Nutrient cycling occurs at the global level through geological processes such as atmospheric circulation, erosion, and weathering. Also, the path of atoms take from the living to the non-living world and back again is called a biogeochemical cycle. A biogeochemical cycle, any of natural pathways by which essential elements of living matter are circulated. The term biogeochemical is a construction that refers to the consideration of the biological, geological, and chemical aspect of each cycle. What are the elements of life in nutrients? There are 50 to 70 atoms or elements that are found in living things. Only 15 or so account for the major portion of living biomass. Only around half of these 15 have been studied extensively as they travel through ecosystem or circulate on global scale, such as oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, potassium, silicon, magnesium, sulfur, aluminum, phosphorus, chlorine, iron, manganese, and sodium. A generalized model of nutrient cycling in an ecosystem. The cycling of nutrients in an ecosystem are interlinked by a number of processes that move atoms from and through an organism from the atmosphere, soil, and rocks and water. Nutrients can flow between these compartments along a variety of pathways. How nutrient cycling differs from energy flow. The energy flow refers to the transfer of energy from one trophic level to another in the food chain and food web. It is unidirectional and energy is lost from one trophic level to another in the form of heat. Sunlight is the ultimate energy source. While nutrient cycling is a cyclic process that encompasses the movement of nutrients from the physical environment to living organism and back to the environment. Nutrients are present on the earth where they are recycled, transformed into different forms and reutilized. The four main nutrient cycles are: Number 1. Carbon cycle. The carbon is the main constituent of all living cells. All the organic matter and biomolecules contain carbon. Carbon is present mainly as carbon dioxide and methane in the atmosphere. There is a continuous exchange of carbon between biotic and abiotic components by the process of photosynthesis and respiration. Atmospheric carbon dioxide is fixed by plants in the process of photosynthesis. All the living organisms release carbon dioxide during respiration. Carbon is released into the atmosphere by burning of fossil fuels and auto emissions. Organic carbon from dead and decaying organism and waste product is released into the atmosphere after decomposition, as you can see in the carbon dioxide cycle diagram. Number 2. Nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen is also an essential component of life. Nitrogen cannot be directly utilized by living organisms and has to be converted to other forms. By the process of nitrogen fixation, nitrogen-fixing bacteria fix atmospheric nitrogen to ammonia, and nitrifying bacteria convert ammonia to nitrate. It is then taken up by plants. Atmospheric nitrogen is converted to nitrates directly by lightning and assimilated by plants. Decomposers breaks down proteins and amino acids of dead and decaying organic matter and waste product. Denitrifying bacteria convert ammonia and nitrates to nitrogen and nitrous oxide by the process of denitrification. In this way, nitrogen is released back into the atmosphere, as you can see in nitrogen cycle diagram. Number 3. Oxygen cycle. Oxygen is essential for life. Aquatic organisms are dependent on oxygen dissolved in water. Oxygen is required for decomposition of biodegradable waste products. Photosynthesis is the main source of oxygen present in the atmosphere. Atmospheric oxygen is taken up by living organisms in the process of respiration and release carbon dioxide, which is used for photosynthesis by plants, as you can see in the oxygen cycle diagram. Last, number 4. Water cycle. Water is an essential element for life to exist on Earth. Water from oceans, lakes, rivers, and other reservoirs is continuously converted to vapor by the process of evaporation and transpiration from the surface of plants. Water vapors get condensed and returned by precipitation, and the cycles continues. The water falling on the ground is absorbed and is stored as a groundwater, as you can see in the water cycle diagram. Importance of nutrient cycling. All living organisms, biomolecules, and cells are made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, and phosphorus. These elements are essential for life. It is important to recycle and continuously replenish nutrients into the environment for life to exist. Nutrient cycling is important for: first, It is required for the transformation of nutrients from one form to another so that it can be readily utilized by different organisms. Example, plants cannot take atmospheric nitrogen and it has to be fixed and converted to ammonium and nitrates for uptake. Second, transfers of nitrogens from one place to another for utilization. Example, air to soil or water. Third, nutrient cycles keep the ecosystem in equilibrium and help in storing nutrients for future uptake. Lastly, through nutrient cycling, living organisms interact with the abiotic components of their surrounding. That's all for this discussion. Thank you for watching and listening.